Welcome here. I'm really glad you're listening. I request that you listen to the whole thing. I don't want to be offensive. I also want to be sensitive. But I'm also going to tell what I think is true. And that is the culture that we live in is really not conducive for youth and teenagers. If you're a teenager listening to this, oh, God bless you. I want to cry for you because you're living in a world that's not good for you. I mean, not totally. There's good things, and there's beautiful things in life and all, but there's an underlying current of deception and I don't know how to explain it. I can't put my finger on it, but it's happening. I can see the fruits of it. What the roots of it are, I'm not sure. It really could be some really tendencies of people to control lives through this form of mental control, I guess, if I can say. And I think the culture is flowing with it. And if you're a youth, you could get caught up in it. Maybe you are. If what I give you as a list of concerns that I have for you as a teenager, and by the way, if you're younger listening to this, you could be getting into it too, but especially that real volatile, sensitive time between child and adulthood. It's that which is where, you tip either one way or the other. Your lives are, really upheaval of change, changing from a child to an adult. Everything from emotional to physical changes in your body as you're maturing to an adult, to hormonal, wacko things. So, I mean, and then the big thing about, I think that's producing this flood of false information to you is social media. And just there's a huge thrust of that. I mean, I'm talking it's so rapid too. It's so speedy. It's so fast that I can't keep up. Nobody can keep up except for youth, But be careful. I just warn you that you get rooted in truth because you're just going to flow and sway with the breeze and every wind of teaching that comes across and every wind of, yeah, that's right. You'll gain it and you're being taught lies. And it comes actually from some of the administration of teachers and educational thing is really teaching some of this. Actually, as I think about it, and I don't have my handle on all of it. I can't grasp it. It's just there, though. So let me get started. Otherwise, I'll just ramble. Please look at yourself as you listen to this. I'm so glad you're listening. Yes. I hope that you get free and that you be aware and beware and that you stop letting this affect your life and you become a great young person and a great man and a great woman, and you didn't get swayed by this right now flood that's it's torrential coming through. The other thing I would like to say about the speediness is literally 5 years from past and 3 years back and 2 years. That's how fast. It wasn't like this. Like, that's how fast this is going. I'm really concerned about the current where it's taking youth. I think that's one of the reasons why there's such mental breakdowns. And there's one reason, it's many. It's very complex, but there's such a failure in this thinking that is causing kids to lose hope and lose their mind, really valid truth. They lose emotional stability. They're going into depressions like crazy. I mean, it's just, and then anger that they don't even know what's there and what's resolved. And really comes down to these things. So again, the discussion is about youth, particularly teens. Okay, teens. And my concerns, okay? These are legitimate, I think, concerns. And this is not going to be a perfect discussion. I'm not perfect at this. But I have something that is, I think is really, really valid here. So at least listen to it. And I'll call it a movement, okay? Movement. There's a movement going on that is just not healthy. That's my point. It's not healthy at all. Okay, so what I did is I put an acronym. I do this all the time. an acronym of various things, and I'm sure there's far more that I don't even know about, or that could be mentioned if I think long enough about it. But this is what we have here. We have a movement that's going on that's against kids. Ugh. And by the way, I want to really make sure you hear this. This is, I almost want to scream it. Just feel the passion of this. That I don't blame you. I don't blame the teens. I don't blame the youth. Now, once you know the truth, then you're blameworthy. It's your fault. But I think there's something that is being taught here that's causing this. And, you know, we could think it's a conspiracy and all that stuff that is underlying the thinking of this stuff. But, you know, like it's like political incorrectness is an issue. And, you know, all this is just really bringing an unhealthy state among the youth of today. And my heart breaks over these teenagers, but it's not their fault unless they get the truth, and now it becomes their fault. All right, here we go. Me. It's really a narcissistic, you know, narcissism, meaning it's an extreme, exorbitant, is that the word? I can't think of the word. Almost an erotic, unhealthy love of oneself. Yes, you should love yourself, but it gets where self is everything. That it's like me, you know, it's all about me. That's huge, and that's wrong. There's a tendency for youth as a whole that their whole life becomes revolved around me and what I'm getting and what I'm not getting and what I'm gaining, what's affecting me and what's causing this, and, you know, why aren't I getting this, and my needs aren't met, blah, 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 blah. It's all me, 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 me. It's myself, me, myself, and I all the time. So there's a constant meism. I mean, that's what else is important? That's what the thinking is, like, what else is important? So I'll give you, for instances, you know, comfort, you know, like uncomfortable, awkward position, awkward. This is awkward. I'm going to say it like with an attitude, but I don't mean to come across where, see, even then when I say it, you go, well, look at that attitude. What are you saying? So this reaction is really important here, but it's like this attitude of like, you know, me, I'm the important thing here. I'm the important one. And people are not, you know, they're not treating me like I'm important. And, you know, I mean, there's a tendency. Now, I want to say this also as a prerequisite or prelude, that that there's balance in this. Remember that word balance, because yes, you are important. Oh my goodness, yes. And what I'm going to say, there's some real truth in one that you should feel this, and you know, there's some things that are balanced here. Your feelings are important and things like that. The problem is when they become obsessed with it, and they become thinking about it, and that's what's important. Sure, from our perspective on the outside of you, we should value you, but if you're not feeling valued, then you just take it in like, why aren't you, you know, what is this? And there's just a real overly sensitive thing that's happening. And then like they're just, you know, it's all about me. Meism is what I call it. I actually think about that word. Like, how is this affecting me? Everything's just like me. All right, I mean, we could go on, but that's kind of the idea there. O stands for, and we could different words here. We could be obsession is, I don't know, but I put offended. I'll just say it that way. I'll just use that word, offended. Like they're very easily offended about anything, even if they're wrong. People will say something like an authority will say something, a teacher or mom or whatever. Well, you're offending me by that, on how you're coming at me. You know, it's offensive to them, even though they should be corrected or reprimanded or rebuked, or maybe some frustration and anger at them. And they go, well, you have no right to, see, rights, my rights. See, there's a balance in that. Sure, you have rights, but there's just anything and everything that doesn't, you know, really set well with me. You know, it's just this, yeah, I'm being offended here on how you're talking to me. I mean, there's this exaggerated sense of like offense, like anything that doesn't really set well with you, if you're a part of that flow, you're offended by it. And yet that person could be dead right and you're dead wrong and you don't even see that. All you're doing is like feeling your offense. You're offending me. Jesus, by the way, I'll just say a word here. One of his titles of who he is he's a rock of offense, stone of stumbling. He offends people. How about that? He offends people. And by the way, if I offend someone and I'm right on something, should I apologize for that offense because you're offended, or something? Well, does that mean Jesus has to apologize to all these other people who are offended by him and his cross or the bloodiness of the religion, bloody cross and sacrifices and all, and offended when he offended the Pharisees and the scribes of that day because he was telling the truth? I mean, offense is a big deal here, and there's such a sense of like, don't offend me. You can't say anything that offends me. In my mom's generation and back, they would be appalled. Even my generation, but we screwed up, in my opinion, with the baby boomers generation, has screwed up with not doing it right with the kids. And then those kids are not doing it right with their kids and all that. Woo, it's scary. So it's just, again, like, well, you offended me. That's so awkward of you. Why are you saying that to me? Why are you saying it that way? That wouldn't have been an issue in like 2 or 3 years ago or 5 years ago. It's just really crazy. All right, V, you know what that is? Do you have any idea? You want to take a stab at that one? Victim. I'm a victim. Victimhood. Well, look, I'm a victim of all the things that are happening to me. Victimhood, I'll call it. Or you're being a victim. Like it's not your fault. Anything and everything. Now, there's balance in this. You could be a victim. Of course, then there's a victim mentality that seems to happen. Like if things aren't going right, which is life, hello, life is tough, then they take it and they become, I'm a victim. Look what has happened in my life. Look what's happening around me. It's not making me feel good. I don't feel good. I'm a victim. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to give you the feeling that's there in many youth. You need to say, okay, life is tough. I'm going to take it. There you go. I'm not going to let this victimhood control me. And then they get controlled by this mental sense of I'm a victim. Like, look at this. I need somebody to take care. I shouldn't be a victim. That's life. You go through tough things. People offend you. People say this, do that to you. And then you just live in this victimhood thing. Like people owe you. Now, it's true, balance, people should owe you, but you're not going to get paid, you're not going to get it all right with everyone. And then you live with this victim chip on the shoulder type thing. Ugh, I could go on and on. I think you're getting it. Now, this is a big one. This is I should put stars on here. And I've already alluded to it quite a bit here. Emotional. Emotions. My emotions are not being met, my emotional life. Like basically it's an attitude like feelings are number one. No, they should not be number one in your life. It's a part of life, but there's a tendency to live, everything is emotion, like feeling. Well, what you said hurt my feelings. Maybe you needed to get hurt with your feelings there. Maybe it's the truth. Something should have been told you and you should have said, you know what, you're right, and then you should apologize or you should change whatever actions you're doing or whatever you're not doing, which you should be, etc., etc. Feelings, emotions, everything's emotions. You're living out of that. Emotions, I call it, this is from way back, I saw a little caboose with a train thing and a tract for Christianity. But the caboose is the feelings. It isn't what rules you. It doesn't guide your life. You don't go by your feelings. That's tendency. Everything's just, well, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like going to school. I don't feel like I should do this. Well, I'm just going to yield to those feelings. Don't yield to your feelings. Feelings should come as a caboose. You should control your feelings and focus your mind and your will on, which is the engine, on the right track, and you do that, feelings will come, and you can control somewhat, of your feelings and because what you fasten your mind on, your feelings, respond to. If I'm thinking of good thoughts, or I'm thinking of positive things, or I'm thinking of whatever, my feelings respond to that. If I start thinking of the people who are hurt in our world, my feelings start responding. I can feel the feelings of compassion and pain for them and all that. So you fasten your mind on what you should be doing. And that's the next thing, mind. So emotions is a problem, and so it affects the mind, the mental state, the mind, or mental, I'll say. Mental, man, there's such mental anguish and distress in young people. It's like it wasn't like that before. And I think it's because there's a gearing towards your feelings so much that your mental thing kind of melts down. Yeah, meltdowns. Teenagers having a lot of meltdowns. I thought meltdowns of people should be in the 2-year-old thing bracket. For 1, 2, 3-year-olds, that, oh, he's having a meltdown, that little boy, that little girl. And now it's a reverting back to the little child thing. There's not a whole lot of maturity a lot of times in most of these youth, it seems, well, most or many or whatever. Forget about statistics. Does that offend you? Like it's just, oh, wait, he said that. That's offensive. Okay, I might not be accurate, but there's a gist of this. Get the gist. Mind, mental. Your mind should be strong, not weak. Mentally, you should be strong. And emotionally, you should be strong. You shouldn't be all snowflakes. Like, just... I hope you're getting it, and I hope you're understanding this. So there's that one. And the next one is escape. Youth are now, they're not facing these things, and they're not facing the things they need to do. And so they do all sorts of escaping. They're running away. Whether it be into drugs, alcohol, and all that, true, but escaping into social media, escaping into movies, escape just to keep your time, trying to heal that deadened, dull sense of numbness that you're experiencing, or your pain or your hurt, instead of facing it and taking care of it and get recovery and fighting through it. And see, that word fight is a good thing. You need to fight for your life, your soul, so that you stay in control. You need to temper all that stuff. It's temperance, which, by the way, is a fruit of the Spirit, the Bible teaches. But my point is, there's a sense of, escapism into things like, okay, here's a phrase, safe place. Colleges do these safe places, and not just, I don't believe it's just for autistic situations and all that. They feel like, wow, I need space, get away from me. I need to go they have rooms set apart of college students who are going to do Play-Doh and coloring books and puzzles to get their calmness again. And these are college students. I've heard of schools like this. I'm not safe. Sure, there's a balance in this. You should feel safe. You should be. But I'm talking about just words and concepts and how people look at you or whatever, and that you don't feel safe because they're not loving me. They're not liking me. I'm not laughing with an attitude of disgust, but I'm laughing because it's so off. It's so wrong. So, so that's escapism. Now, I decided to put a quote that might be in the heart of someone. They might not actually say this, but the quote is never... This is what people are like, they're living for. Never say anything I don't like. That could be kind of a phrase. And I don't know, there could be a better in here. I don't like. There's this attitude that you should never say anything I don't like. Well, I mean, people say things I don't like. It's life, hello. And you just roll with the punches. Let it water be on the duck's back. Just let it go. Let it go, let it go. Frozen. And the hearts become frozen, and they're toughened and they're sore and they're hurt and all that. Sure, legitimate hurts come, but way too much. For those who are concerned about everything. I don't like it when someone doesn't say something that I don't like. And it may not be directed to them. They just say something that's politically or spiritually or something completely off of what they don't like, and they cancel them. Cancel culture. Well, I don't like the way you think, so I'm done with you. Drop you like piece of whatever, nothing. You're nothing. You're garbage. Drop you, cancel you. See, it's all this super overly sensitive stuff that is not healthy. People need to be strong here. And the last thing, because of all this, they start developing huge trust issues. Okay, so they don't trust anybody because they don't want to be a victim, and then they close themselves up more and more, and it becomes a very lonely world. Now, again, there's balance. You can't trust everyone. I totally understand that. You shouldn't trust everyone, and you need to get to know people and all that. But there's this real barricade. There's this real withdrawal. They withdraw and they escape and they protect, and I feel bad because they become like little boys or little girls as they're afraid, and they live in fear. And they live in this sense that's not reality, and that's why they escape to all this other stuff. And so, there it is. So I just want to encourage you to look at yourself, and if you've seen some of this, you say, you know what, this guy's right. I'm gonna be careful. I'm gonna stop this movement. I'm gonna not be a part of this movement. Me. Offended easily, victimhood all the time, emotional. Of course, you'll be a victim at times. So, emotional, everything's about feelings. Their mind and mental state is weak and unstable. Not good. They escape to try and protect themselves. That's not good. It's people taking drugs to get escape. Not good. Never say anything I don't like. That's just, quick phrase there I thought about. And then trust issues. And you just can't. You don't open up. You only hide yourself. It's a hiding. It's a world of self-protection, of self-preservation, and of course that's a natural tendency of people. When you're doing. That's why, by the way, if you give your life to Christ, He becomes your protection. He becomes your friend. You don't have to have friends. I'm not worried about friends. I've got Jesus, and He's more than enough. That could be an unbalanced thing, that where we don't interact with people. And it's part of this is balance, but it's really out of whack. It's unbalanced. It's off balance right now. And I feel so bad for the teenagers. I hope you heard this and listened to it and take it in and say, you know what, this is some good stuff. And I'm not gonna let the movement suck me up into this movement of Meism and all that I just shared. All right. Thanks for listening. God bless you. Pray. Seek the Lord and say, Lord, help me. And He will. Thank you for listening.